I belong to several gardening groups on Facebook, and I love all of the information I get. I've mentioned before that I live in the Pacific Northwest, and so the problem I have is with the moldy leaves of on roses. So today I'm going to show you what I did, which I learned from a woman named Paula, I believe in Mill Creek, Washington, who is in charge of our group. And she talked about this dormant spray that one can put on their roses or fruits, trees, or I guess it's edible. It's an oil. So here is the apparatus that I happily had at my house, and I did rinse it out, as you're seeing that I'm doing right now, because I haven't really lived at my house for the last 10 years, so I wanted to make sure that anything that was in there was rinsed out. It didn't smell like anything, and as far as I can remember, we just put fertilizer in there to spray on the roots of plants, but I don't know. On the outside of these little containers, they do have a place where you can tick what is in it so you don't cross contaminate. So here's what I'm using, and it's a dormant oil. And here in the back, I can look up roses. Now, roses for the winter time, which it is right now in the Pacific Northwest, you can use 5 to 7 tablespoons. So here is what I'm showing you. It's either 5 or 7 tablespoons, give or take. And that's for 1 quart. So you can see here I blackened out the quart because you couldn't see it because it was all washed away. And I did put 6 in, but my camera, I didn't turn it on. So that's the last one. Now, what you're supposed to do, first of all, and please write in the comments if you think I'm wrong, you're supposed to remove any of the old leaves or anything old from the tree or bush. And then you are also supposed to take away all the dead leaves from the ground as well. I have been told, I am not a master gardener as of yet, that the black fungus stuff that gets on leaves is because of a spore. And spores are also, I believe, are where mushrooms come from. So they kind of just float around and plant themselves in places. So you have to not only treat the plants, but you have to treat the ground around it. And that's why you have to make sure that all of the dead, infected items are also off of the ground. Now, because I haven't done anything with my roses for a while, there were a lot of rose hips on them. And interesting about these roses in the backyard, the ones on the left and the right were underneath the eaves of the house when my parents bought this house back in, I think, 1976 or 1978. I can't remember. And they never got much love or care. So probably about, I want to say 10 years ago, I dug them up and they put them in the front of the house, which gets a lot of sunshine. And what I didn't realize is that these are crawling rose bushes, not crawling, climbing. So that is why the one on the left and the right have a support behind it, because not right now, but in a few weeks from now, I will start to bend the smaller new growths as an S shape. And that way you get more roses, because every time that it goes flat, the actual branch, more little growths come off of it. And so it's quite lovely. But if you haven't listened to my channel before, I've been gone for a few years. So I did have a lovely woman who was my gardener, but she became an acupuncturist. And so now I get to do my own gardening myself, but I haven't been doing it until about now. So this is the middle of February in the Pacific Northwest. So you can see here, I'm taking all of the dead growth, and I'm not wearing gloves because if any of you have watched my show before, I have fat little hands, and when I wear gloves, I find it really difficult to feel things or reach for things, and I rarely cut myself with the thorns because I'm very gentle around them. So if I don't move suddenly, I don't usually get many cuts. And also, I think that working with the soil soothes my soul. And believe me, if you knew me, you'd know I need my soul soothed. So I am removing all of the new growth that is all of the old stems that are woody, and also all of the new growth that is less than a pencil thick. There's a lot that looked like a noodle. So I'll get rid of those, even though they had little new growths on them. And the reason is that your rose bushes, they need a lot of air to, circulate through to be healthy. Now here's my husband in the back, and he's a lot taller than I am. And my arms are like little T-Rex arms. I can't reach very far. And something had fallen in the back of the little flower bed here. So he's trying his best to get that out. I did have to edit out some swearing. Anyway, so he helped me out there because once again, all of the dead stuff has to be out of there. Yeah, that one right there that I'm touching, if I didn't cut it off later on, I will be bending that. I don't want a lot of straight shoots from the flower bed. As you can see, there's an S curve right there, and that's how I want it to be. Now, the roses on the left, they are red during the season, and the ones on the far right, the climbers, are white. So guess what color the flower is in the middle? You got it. It's pink. So I didn't really plan it that way. I bought the pink one to go someplace else, and it was there for many years. But once again, we have a pretty big house with a big, the eaves go all the way around it. And I found that anything that I plant underneath there doesn't really like it. So where these roses are currently, they get sun from early morning until I'd say 7 o'clock in the summer, and then the sun goes down here around 4:30, 5 o'clock. So the winter is never that sunny anyway. But in the summertime, it's very lovely. And one of the projects will be this fence to my left right now. It has peeling paint. It was a whole bunch of cedar boards that I found 10 or more years ago, and I sanded them all down nicely, and I painted them, so they've been holding up pretty well. So now this is the water solution, 1 gallon to 5 to 7 tablespoons of the Dormant oil, and I went to our local garden shop and I asked the lovely women who work there, and they said these are the 2 ones we have. They're very similar, so you choose. I got the concentrate, and I often try to get the concentrate because it's a lot cheaper that way. So if you don't have an apparatus like this, they do have ones that you attach your hose to, and that will be probably a better price. Or they have the ones that's filled with water, and then you're paying for water, sadly. So here you can see I am spraying all of the roses and the ground. Now this is the other rose bush in the front yard, and it's kind of a yellow color. And many people do trim their roses down to the stubs, to like the nubbins or whatever you want to call it. I don't do that. There's a rose garden down the street from my house, and they always do that. I have been pruning my own roses for off and on for 10 years. However, I think it's really, I just got a message. Sorry about that. You have to be a strong person to be able to cut those down. And so that's why they're a little bit taller than you might see. So here I am in my lovely attire. It was a little cold today. And you also might see that it's kind of like mossy looking. That's not. Those are little sedums. And so they will have little flowers later on. It's just so cute. So I'm taking all of the leaves because I don't want anything that has any of the spores on there. And that's another thing is my other gardening group, they always say, leave the leaves because that's where the bugs grow for the birds. And then it's like, yeah, but if I leave the leaves, sometimes I pick them up and the white dust powder comes out. So I don't like leaving the leaves because I just think it makes a lot of bad stuff, not always good stuff. Anyway, so here I am spraying, and I spray around the ground. And then my lovely husband, he was taking all of the leaves off this big rose bush. Now, this rose bush is one of the lovely ones that actually smells amazing. It was with the house when we moved in. I think it's about maybe 80, 90 years old. And every couple of years, we have to get the plumber to come in and take the roots out of the pipes. And he said, well, you can just cut down your rose bush. And I said, what? I don't understand the words that you are saying. So we do have to clean our pipes up a little bit, but it's worth it because I just love this rose bush. Yes, it's one of the stereotypical, beautiful pink roses that just have the most amazing fragrance ever. So I hope you liked what we did. Sorry you can't see as well, but basically take all the dead stuff off, remove it from the ground, and then spray the Dormant spray on there, and then you're supposed to do it before the budding as well. Anyway, have a great day and see you soon.